What's up, y'all? It's Evan from DMV Sports Zone giving you another update on all things DMV sports. As always, we start with college football and the Maryland Terrapins. So Maryland got a full head of steam last week and carried the momentum into this week, not only beating Rutgers, but shutting them out 37-0. In the game, Talia Tagovailoa became Maryland's all-time leader in pass touchdowns with 50, and it was Maryland's first shutout in conference play since 2008, first as a Big Ten member. The win improves the Terps to 7-5, 4-5 in the Big Ten. They finish at fourth in the Big Ten Eastern Division. Up next for the Terps is a bowl game. We don't know where, we don't know when, we don't know who they're playing, but we do know Maryland will be playing a game in December. Up next, let's talk about the Navy midshipmen, and that will kind of wrap up the college football segment since I basically wrapped up the other two last week. So Navy had a bye this past week, which is why you didn't hear too much about them. The midshipmen still sit at 4-7, 4-4 in the American Athletic Conference, 6th place in the conference standings. This week, another bye. So now we move over to hockey and the Washington Capitals. So the Capitals put together a solid week this past week, but just couldn't finish it on a good note. A 5-1 loss in New Jersey on Saturday, nearly getting shut out by former Capitals netminder Vitek Vanacek in the effort. The loss drops the Caps to 9-11-3, 21 points, 6th place in the Metropolitan Division. So here's the week ahead for Washington. On Tuesday, the Capitals will close out the month of November when they head to Vancouver to take on the Canucks. The Canucks come in at 9-10-3, 21 points. They're tied with Calgary for 5th in the Pacific. We will talk about Calgary a little bit later. Vancouver's coming off a 4-3 overtime win in San Jose. They've won 3 in a row. This is the last of 2 between the Caps and the Canucks. Washington leads the season series 1-0 after beating Vancouver 6-4 in D.C. on October 17th. The Capitals will open up the month of December on Thursday when they head to Seattle to take on the Kraken. The Kraken are currently 13-5-3, 29 points, 2nd in the Pacific behind only Vegas. Seattle's coming off a 5-4 win in Anaheim on Sunday. They've won 5 in a row. They've gotten a point in 6 straight. This is the first of 2 between the Caps and the Kraken. Last season, Washington and Seattle split a pair with the home team winning both. And for the Capitals, the week concludes on Saturday when they head to Calgary to take on the Flames. The Flames are currently 9-9-3, 21 points, and they're tied with Vancouver for 5th in the Pacific Division. Calgary's coming off a 3-2 loss in Carolina on Saturday. They've lost 3 in a row. This is the last of 2 between the Caps and the Flames. Washington leads the season series 1-0 after beating Calgary 3-0 in D.C. on November 25th. Now we move over to basketball and the Washington Wizards. So for the Wizards, it wasn't too good of a week this past week. Capped off with a 130-121 loss in Boston on Sunday, and now they've lost 3 in a row. The Wizards currently sit at 10-10, 8th place in the Eastern Conference. So here's the week ahead for Washington. For the Wizards, the week begins tonight when they return home to host the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves come in also at 10-10. They're 10th in the West. Minnesota's coming off a 137-114 loss against the Warriors on Sunday, and they've lost 2 in a row. This is the first of 2 between the Wizards and the Timberwolves. Last season, Washington swept the season series against Minnesota. The Wizards will conclude the month of November on Wednesday when they head to Brooklyn to take on the Nets. The Nets are currently 10-11. They're tied with Miami for 9th place in the Eastern Conference. Brooklyn's coming off a 111-97 win over the Trailblazers on Sunday, thanks to 31 points by Kevin Durant. This is the second of 4 between the Wizards and the Nets. Brooklyn leads the season series 1-0 after beating Washington 128-86 in D.C. on November 4th. For the Wizards, the month of December begins on Friday when they head to Charlotte to take on the Hornets. The Hornets are currently 6-14, 13th in the Eastern Conference. Charlotte's coming off a 110-108 win over the Timberwolves on Friday, and they've actually won 2 in a row. This is the third of 4 between the Wizards and the Hornets. Washington leads the season series 2-0 after beating Charlotte 108-100 in Charlotte on November 7th, then beating the Hornets again 106-102 in D.C. on November 20th. And for the Wizards, the week concludes on Sunday when they return home to host the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers are currently 7-11, 13th in the Western Conference. LA's coming off a 143-138 win in San Antonio on Saturday. They've won 2 in a row. This is the first of 2 between the Wiz and the Lakers. Last season, Washington and LA split a pair with the home team winning both. And now we move to college basketball, and we start with the 3rd-ranked Virginia Cavaliers up 2 spots from last week's poll. Now, Virginia didn't have a lot of action this week, but they left no doubt on Friday against Maryland Eastern Shore. 72-45, Virginia wins that one, thanks to 26 points by Jaden Gardner. The win improves the Cavaliers to 5-0, so here's the week ahead for the Wahoos. Virginia will close out the month of November on Tuesday when they head to Ann Arbor to take on the Michigan Wolverines as part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Michigan comes in at 5-1. The Wolverines are coming off a 78-68 win over Jackson State on Wednesday, and they've won 2 in a row. And for Virginia, the week begins on Saturday when they open up both the month of December and conference play by returning home to host the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State is currently 1-7. The Seminoles are coming off a 75-58 loss against Nebraska on Sunday. They've lost 3 in a row. Up next, let's talk about the 22nd ranked Maryland Terrapins, up 1 spot from last week. Well, Maryland took the court on Friday. They got a nice homecoming reunion with Juan Dixon, and they got the nice win 95-79 over Coppin State, thanks to 24 points by Julian Reese. The win improves the Terrapins to 6-0, so here's the week ahead for the Terps. Maryland will close out the month of November on Tuesday when they head to Louisville to take on the Louisville Cardinals as part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Louisville comes in at 0-6. The Cardinals are coming off an 81-62 loss against Cincinnati on Wednesday. And yeah, it's falling apart at the seams for Louisville. And for Maryland, the week concludes on Friday as they open up December and conference play by returning home to host the 16th ranked Illinois Fighting Illini. Illinois is currently 5-1. The Fighting Illini are coming off a 92-59 win over Lindenwood on Friday, thanks to 19 points by Sky Clark. Up next, let's talk about the Virginia Tech Hokies. So for Virginia Tech, they got off to a little bit of a sluggish start on Friday. They held on, though, for a 69-64 win over Charleston Southern in a game which they never led by more than 6. Nonetheless, the win improves the Hokies to 6-1 on the season. So here's the week ahead for Virginia Tech. For Virginia Tech, the week begins tonight as they conclude the month of November at home against the Minnesota Golden Gophers as part of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Minnesota comes in at 4-2. The Golden Gophers are coming off a 71-62 loss at UNLV on Wednesday, despite 17 points by Keshawn Gilbert. And for Virginia Tech, the week concludes on Sunday when they open up the month of December and conference play at home against the 18th ranked North Carolina Tar Heels. North Carolina is currently 5-2. The Tar Heels are coming off a 103-101 quadruple overtime loss against formerly number 18 Alabama on Sunday, and they've lost 2 in a row after starting the season 5-0 and ranked number 1. And we'll wrap up this college basketball segment by talking about the Georgetown Hoyas. So for Georgetown, it wasn't pretty Saturday, but they got it done. The Hoyas beat UMBC 79-70 thanks to 25 points by Jay Heath. The win improves the Hoyas to 4-3. They're back above 500. So here's the week ahead for G-Town. For Georgetown, the week begins on Wednesday when they conclude the month of November by heading to Lubbock to take on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Texas Tech comes in at 4-2. The Red Raiders are coming off an 80-73 loss against Ohio State on Wednesday, despite 21 points by Daniel Batcho. And for Georgetown, the week concludes on Saturday when they open up the month of December back at home against the South Carolina Gamecocks. South Carolina is currently 3-3. The Gamecocks are coming off a 68-53 win over South Carolina Upstate on Friday, thanks to 22 points by Gregory Jackson. And that's it for this update, but we've got plenty of good content coming up from Noah, Nadi, and Abdullah this week as they cover our Commanders and another big game as they head to New York to take on the Giants. Until next time, I'm Evan from DMV Sports Zone signing off.